your boy D-Mark aka Mark. So now I'm back with another video. So we're gonna be checking out a clip. This is Paul Heyman almost joined TNA after WWE fired Bryan Danielson, known as Daniel Bryan. Now this is something that I want to react to. I was thinking about doing this particular video that I saw. Well, I saw, but I found this to be somewhat interesting. So I'm gonna check this video out, and I'm also gonna put the link in the description box so y'all can go check it out for yourselves. Anyways, before we get into all that, if you have not already yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications, as I will be posting every single week. Let's get straight into this of what Paul Heyman said. Paul Heyman got to say.
Business, especially in the entertainment business, and especially in the sports entertainment business, there are what you call show components. These are the things that you can't live without. You must have content. Because if you don't have content, you're not selling anything. If I don't have any wrestlers, if I don't have a show, if I don't have a presentation, there's nothing for you all to come to. You must have finance. If I can't afford the ring, the insurance, the building, the wrestlers, the referee, the ropes, everything, and there's no show that I can put on. Now, once you have content, once you have finance, you must have distribution. If I don't have distribution, there's no way for you to see my product. I lost distribution. So did WCW right around the very same time. WCW had finance, they had no distribution. Their content was ours was not. When you all get to meet Eric Bischoff, tell him I said so.
Damn, Paul.
Once you lose distribution, you're dead. We were dead. That was it. It was over. I wish it wasn't, but it was. And there was nothing I could have done to change that. The industry of cable television in the United States was consolidating at the time, and the general consensus was there was only one real game in town, which was WWE, which was right in the middle of the Stone Cold and Rock and era, and that was it. I mean, we were dead. We were dead in the water, and there was nothing we could have done about it.
Yeah, I think I know what Paul was talking about here. I think what he was talking about during the days of when Stone Cold and the Rock era and the Hall Lions, I think that's what mostly what he's talking about right here. But I don't know. Well, let me see what else he says. Let me see.
The balls to do what you know in your heart is
I
right.
think this is mostly what he was talking
Sometimes
about.
that means you put your job on the line. When you do something like what I did at ECW One Night Stand, you just have to know in your heart it's going to work. It's going to be spectacular. The people are going to be talking about you the next day. If you do that and it works, there's nothing they can say to you. If you do it and it flops, you are actually out of a job. But nobody rises to the top. Nobody becomes main event. Nobody achieves status unless you're willing to take that risk. That risk is everything. You have to know in your heart what the crowd wants. You have to play off the crowd. Give them what they want, not what the guys behind the curtain want. The guys behind the curtains think they're making the decisions, but they're not.
Yes.
Decisions. You tell them what's working. So when I have a live microphone in my hand, in case you haven't noticed yet, I gotta do what the fuck I want to do. And I did on that night, and there was nothing for them to say because it worked. If I bombed, I was dead in the water. I would have been shown the door. I would have been fired before the end of the show, but it didn't bomb. It worked. So I wasn't afraid. I wasn't afraid to do it. I've never been afraid with a microphone in my hand. I'm afraid of a lot of things. I'm afraid of the whole driving concept here because I don't know if you guys know this. You guys are driving on the wrong side of the road. And I know if you come to America, you think we're driving on the wrong side of the road, but we're not. You guys are up every day. You're on the wrong side of the road. So that scares the out of me. Just driving here from Manchester, oh God, they're coming at us, you know. That's everything. Some of the food here scares the out of me too. And so there are a lot of pretty ladies here in Glasgow, and the women in Manchester will scare the out of you too.
Oh.
Those things scare me. Put a microphone in my hand, I'm a fearless man. I just have no fear whatsoever because I kind of have a rhythm with the audience and I will figure out what they want, and no matter what I have to do, including stage diving on this guy right here, I will give the audience what they want because that's what I do for a living. I was long gone from WWE when I started talking to TNA, and
Yeah.
in ECW, who now runs the company called Evolve. James Zamolsky was very tight with Daniel Bryan because Daniel Bryan is supposed to be great. So one of my plans was to bring Daniel Bryan into TNA at the time. It was quite important to do so as he wrote his own book. And the whole concept was going to be build it around the young guys, build it around the TNA style, just give it a completely different feel than the WWE light product that they were presenting back in 2010 and 2011, which is when I ended up talking with them. They didn't want to get rid of the old guys. They just did it. Sorry, we don't want to do it. They had Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff, no knock on Eric Bischoff this time. They had Sting, they had Mick Foley, they had Ric Flair.
Yeah. Back in the old days of TNA wrestling, you got like one of the big names that you can possibly name of that you can think off the top of your head, like Hulk Hogan, Sting, Ric Flair, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, all those people. Like, you know, you got the Dudley boys, and most people will say that TNA was not TNA. What most people were saying, it wasn't really all that great at the time. So I was kind of like watching TNA from like here and there, but not all the time. If it like had anything to do with storyline wise, I will get mostly into it. But the rest of the stuff, like everything else, nowadays with TNA, it was decided to bring the total nonstop action known as TNA. They brought that back. They scrapped the name Impact Wrestling and went back to total nonstop action known as TNA. But I don't really watch TNA all that much anymore. I just don't really care because when I was watching TNA back then, like it is now, like it's not like the same as it was back then. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because like you got all the new younger talent, and you go there and you kind of know who they are, but you really do not know like who they really are, like what their backstory of like how they got into wrestling or into the business. So if that makes any sense right there, you know what I mean? So yeah. And RVD, Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy, all of those people was in TNA.
How can you build around the young guys when you're giving all this TV time to people? And I wasn't going to be on TV either, by the way. That wasn't part of my plan. I was over 40. I didn't want to be on television anymore. That was it. It had to be young guys. Had to be a young crew. Had to be new upcoming guys. And one or two people like Daniel Bryan who had established their name already, but still, he hadn't really exploded on the scene yet. He was still considered a new guy, a young guy. And they didn't want to do it. They couldn't grasp the concept that these legends, one by one, would all leave them at some point. And they just figured, oh, but we have them, and why would we want to get rid of them? Because the public's not buying your product, so let's sell them a different product. And they just wouldn't do it, and I wasn't willing to compromise what I believed was going to work, because I wasn't going to come back into this industry and fail. It wasn't, I already felt that I had failed with the new ECW. I couldn't stop WWE from doing to the legacy of that brand what they did to the legacy of that brand. I felt that I hoard out the legacy of the brand and myself by performing on that television show, because what they did to the name of ECW was terrible to me. It was a nightmare to me. I didn't want to relive it by getting back into the business only to fail again. So,
Oh wow.
get rid of the legend. I want to see the old guys. I'm an old guy now, and I don't want people to get rid of me because I'm old. So, if you want to get rid of me because I'm a legend, go ahead. Hey, you're a legend. Oh, it feels so much better. Thank you. But they wouldn't get rid of the legends, and at the end of the day, I knew it wasn't going to work, and I just didn't do it.
Okay. There were definitely some good points that Paul Heyman pointed out. Alright. So with him talking about like older talent just taking over the spotlight and not having the other talent that never been presented on television and all of that. Paul definitely had a great point of this. He really do. And the same way I would feel about AEW, that's even though AEW is not really in a best position right now of everything that's been going on, but despising the low audience attendance, low ticket sales, these like these crowds on these half-ass crowds. I mean, you got one crowd over here, and then you got like an empty crowd over here. And I was looking up something like that on IG the other day, where Ricochet came out, and somebody was recording this. It was at an AEW show, and you see like it had to be like about 900 people on this side and empty chairs on this side. So it's like that's really a bad look on AEW's part right there. And not just only that was like ruining like the promotion process of things, but storylines are still not making any sense with AEW. The characters from every single wrestler is not making any sense. Like wrestlers are just having a random match, which is also good, but what is the purpose of doing this match? Like, who is this getting over? Why is this happening? Why are these guys having a match together? Like, can we at least like get a glimpse of what's really going on or why this is happening? Like those type of things, you know what I mean? But with Paul Heyman with ECW and WCW at that time, like, was going out of business when they was feuding with WWE, known as WWF at the time. I know a little bit about this storyline, but after WCW went out of business back in 2001, some of WCW's wrestlers, they still was on a contract. Well, not on a contract, but they was still like at home getting paid. Well, they was still on a WWE show back at the time. But yeah, but it's crazy that some of these people from WCW that y'all never see on WWE television, like Goldberg, Sting, and who else? Hogan's, the NWO and all that stuff. So yeah, I never really grew up watching, ECW and WCW. But AEW though, I honestly do not know like what's going on. Hopefully next year in 2025, hopefully things starts to make some equivalent changes from next year. Y'all want to see new stars being presented on TV and all that stuff. And I do too. And this is mostly my opinion though, is the reason why I haven't been watching AEW, because I kind of like, the moment I kind of zoomed out from WWE, AEW, the moment I kind of zoomed out from AEW when things was not clicking right for me. Like everything was just all over the place and things are just not making any sense. But I haven't watched AEW this week, but I probably may check out some clips of it. May check out some clips, but not all of them. Some of them I will, some of them I just won't. But so I did not know that Paul Heyman was going to go to TNA, which that would be, if you can imagine Paul Heyman going to TNA, it will be like the exact same. Things will be so much different. I mean, he can bring back that old school ECW show from back in the day, if that's actually happened, if he did go to TNA, which that would be something ironic right there, if I'm being honest. But anyways, that's all I got for this video. Y'all let me know what's your thoughts about this, and follow me on social medias down below. I'll be back with another video, y'all. Peace.
My moment to shine, this is my time of flight. I've been grinding forever just for this very night. I've been pushing for many moments like this. This time is undervalued and no one ever could.